Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ultra
Ultra
Yomo.
Yomo.
So this is reflection number two of the Ultra Yomo, and Chris has something that he's, I guess, fired up about, but I don't know what it is, but
I well
we shall see.
we're doing part two of when I remember the first Ultra Yomo episode was about breaking free of imaginary chains
James.
you put
Mhm.
yourself in, right? I had wanted to reread the Black Swan. I hadn't reread the Black Swan. Um I think I've read this book. I think that was the third time that I've read that book. Was when I did this. The only reason why I read it twice is because when we started to put everybody through uh,
The
our
core
core
values
values
quest.
quest, I
Hmm.
just wanted to test it out myself. So I did it with Blake at the same time, and trying to figure out if it was going to work or not. So I guess this is at least the third time that I've read Black Swan. And since that point in time to this point in time, when I read it again, it had probably been almost 2 or 3 years, right? Right, and this is
Hmm.
one of my favorite books, and I really love, the author's voice. And anyway, so after we were breaking free of the chains, I was like, first day after Yomo ends, cross the finish line. It's like, what do I want? What do we want to learn about today? So, the first thing I think I was like, man, I want to reread, you know, Black Swan. I mean, I know we already wrote. I thought we already wrote all of our reflections about it, but I'm sure there's way more in that
There's a
mind to go,
lot. There's a lot
tap
to
into,
unpack.
right? And I could
Yeah.
probably go back and read it again and write another two or four reflections or something. So maybe I will. So that was what I chose to do. So this is part two of revisiting Black Swan, and I don't know what it was, but apparently this book really got me fired up that particular day to remind Amelia and I, that we are a black swan ourselves, right? So this is one of my most favorite
Man, we are
statistics.
more than a black swan. We are
Oh yeah,
like
right, we are. That's what I said. We're the
I mean, it's like a black swan is like 1 in a million.
Right, we're 1 in 400 trillion, right? So I don't remember where I heard this stat, and I maybe this stat may be total bullshit, but I don't think it's bullshit. I think it
I mean, I
feels
think it's
right.
close enough
Right.
based on I guess the number of people that we have now and the rate of newborns and the rate of old people passing away. I think it's in the ballpark. But
Sure.
still, I mean, it's like more than a billion, right? So if you are 1 in a billion, like you are much more than a black swan already. So even if you say you are a black swan, this thing is like tremendously. You know how many the X it is, like how many times? So black swan is like 1 in a million, right?
Is that the definition of a black
I don't
swan? Is
know.
like, yeah,
Black swan is 1 in a million,
sure.
right? But I think the black swan that we hear today are usually like, hey, there's something that happens in our life, or like, it's once in like 40 years. Like, okay, that's a black swan.
Right,
But like let's put into perspective 1 in a million, right?
right,
That is a black swan. You have to do that 1,000 more times to get a billion.
right.
That's 100, that's 1,000x,
And then
right?
to get
And
to
imagine
400
if you
trillion, yeah,
it's a huge
it's a huge
magnitude,
number, right? Yeah, it's
right?
massive. I mean, just assuming this number is legit, just us being here and talking together is a miracle, right? Like, I mean, it truly is a miracle. It's pretty mind blowing, right? And I don't know what it means. I don't really care what it means. All I know is we are a black swan, and black swans, if you read this book and you understand what black swans mean based off of the definition of it, it's this is my understanding of a black swan.
Mhm.
It's a phenomenon that's highly improbable. Not only does it happen, but it pushes the world forward in force multipliers, that truly can't be contemplated by our own, most imagination, most imaginative brains, right? Like, meaning, man, that was a lot of words. Meaning, basically, black swans, when they happen, like, are game changers, basically, right? Like, so each one of us are game changers in a lot of ways, right? So you are a game changer when you get into this world because you have the opportunity to act and to be the person you want to be. Like, for me personally, this book, I don't know why it got me fired up, and it was a reminder, like, if you're fucking here and you got your 1 in 400 trillion, lottery ticket going on, like, you better get to work, like, and doing something that matters to you or somebody. I don't really care, but like do something like with your time, right? Like it's not a what a shame to waste, your lottery ticket on bullshit. Like it's just stuff that you don't care about, that doesn't matter to you, that you're just trying to pass each day to get to the next day. It's like what? No, like I mean, this is important. Like this is really important. I was that book that I sent you that quote today about it's called Big Magic. I know I love your response, by the way, but I do think that she said something in there that I wrote down a note earlier. I got it pulled up. Um, she said like, the a creative life is a better way, but basically what she meant, she was like, it's all temporary anyway. Everything that we do, whether it's good or bad or whatever we perceive, it's just might as well just try, right? Like, because what's the point of being here if you're not going to try? What's the point of taking this lottery ticket, this beautiful life of being a black swan, of each one of us being a black swan and never doing anything with it, right? I mean, this is a gift, and just to try to be here every single day and to try to create the stuff we're trying to create. I told you this as I've been going through this whole, Indian building out this pickleball facility. Like, I'm not afraid. I mean, sorry, I'm very afraid every single day of a lot of things that are going on right now. But I'm more than happy and blessed and feel great to be able to express my creative freedom on this project and to try to bring something into this world that didn't exist before, and it probably won't exist, 100 years from now or 500 years from now or whatever. But like at the end of the day, I don't really care. Like it exists now, and I get an opportunity to have fun and enjoy my life and cash in my own lottery ticket that we're black swans in this world, and that's what this is all about. That was what Yomo was about. That's what Ultra Yomo is still about. It's about doing the things that matter most to you in this world and taking that time, taking advantage of the time. Anyway, yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Well, like I said, in the universe, right? For you to be here, you are more than a black swan. So if you are a lottery winner, and essentially the simplicity is that, okay, you win a lottery, the question is now what? Okay, that's essentially as basic as I can give it to you, because you just won the lottery. You were given life. You were given a ticket of life.
Right.
Okay, and say, okay, imagine you win a lottery. What
And then
will
never
you
spend a
do?
dime.
What will you do? Right? There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can say, hey,
Right.
I'm gonna burn the ticket,
Right.
right? Or I'm going to take the money and then I'm going to squander it, right? And so the point is you have this lottery ticket of life. And the question that the universe is asking you is, what are you going to do with it?
Exactly.
And most people say, I hate this ticket. I don't want this ticket. I don't want to win the lottery. I don't want to be this millionaire or whatever. This is what people are saying when they say, I hate my life.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially, you think about it. I mean, it goes back to what I hear, what I feel about your daughter, Amelia, right? Her ticket was cut short. She would love to have someone else's ticket.
Of course.
You think about what I just said right there, right? It is something that she yearns more than anything. And she held on to that ticket to the very, very last minute. You
Right.
have to understand how much she wanted life, how much
Oh,
she
I know.
wanted
I
that
mean,
ticket,
I
right?
saw it every single moment, and that's why this reflection is what it is, and that's why we're talking together. It's I saw it. I mean, I saw how important life
It's
was.
perspectives.
I didn't know that before her, right? Like I didn't understand it. Like I liked my life, but I was like I didn't understand how
We take
incredible it
this
is.
lottery ticket for granted, and we have something so great that we look at it and we spit on it, we stepped on it because for whatever reason we think we deserve more than that or whatever,
Right.
and we think we're so smart and we can figure it out, blah blah blah. And in the end, all you're doing is you're just wasting. You just squander the one in a lifetime, one in a 400 trillion chance. That's
What
what you're
that is
doing.
that number is just so mind blowing. I mean, it really I can't it's almost like you might as well just call it fake, infinity. I mean, it it's almost so far out there that I can't visualize what that even means. But like what I do know is it's a lot, right? Like basically we shouldn't be here is the point, right? Like you and I should not be talking together. Like I shouldn't be
It's
able to,
it's one of those
Amelia
things
shouldn't
where
be here, you know?
the magnitude of the chance is so small. It's so small that 1 in a million, it's like nothing compared to 1 in a billion, right? You're
Right.
talking about 0.000001 to be 1 in a billion versus point 1 in a billion, 1 and 0.001, right?
Yeah.
Trillion is you have like
I don't even know. I mean,
it's
like
it's it's huge, but the
right.
magnitude is huge. But people don't do math. But I'm gonna simplify that. Okay, so there's a story that I heard. There's it's you know a dad take his kid. He's a rich guy. It's a rich dad. He took his kid. He's about 10 years old to the mall and buy a lot of nice expensive clothes. And then as he walked out from the mall to his car, he saw a homeless kid about 10 years old, same age as the dad's kid. And the little homeless boy said, "Hey, excuse me, sir. I'm homeless. My parents and are not here. Blah blah blah. I see you have a can you well off? Can you give me something? I don't have shoes. I don't have anything." And basically, the kid was say, well, and the dad said, well, basically, you are almost the same size as my son here, and his son, is holding a bunch of shopping bag with a bunch of designer clothes and watches and everything, right? And the son said, "Okay, Dad, go ahead and give to him because we can always go back and get something more." And so basically, the little kid, the rich kid, give this homeless kid his clothes, right? And
Yeah.
then several like about a week later, or maybe several weeks later, um, the man drive around and he saw the kid again, and basically he went and he said, "Hey kid, you remember me? I'm the guy that my son give you all the stuff." So he said, "Well, my son has all these toys, right? All these things that belongs to him. I want you to have it, right?" And the kid said, "Well, if you give your your son's stuff to me, what is he going to use? What is he going to play with?" And so the dad said, "Well, don't worry about it. He's no longer here." Right. And so,
He
and
died?
he said, and the dad said, "Well, my son told me to give this to you because, you have, you have something that, more that he wants more than all these things." And basically, the rich kid, he was dying and he died no, a few weeks later after the incident with meeting with that poor kid. And so basically the dad said, the point of the story is, you look at my son and you see that all the great thing he has, all the nice shirt, the designer clothes, the jewelry, the watches, the all the
Right.
toys he has, right? But that doesn't mean anything to him because he wanted to be alive. He wanted to
Right.
live. He don't want the sickness. So in
Right.
a way, you think that you want his things. Well, in a way, you are so much better than him in terms of you are given
You're
so
hidden.
much more riches
Right.
than he was given. So the
Right.
perspective is that, a person, you look at a person until you get to that point, right? When you say, well, I'm sick, right? You can even look at Steve Jobs when he's sick, right? It doesn't matter. I guarantee you, when Steve Jobs is sick, and if you were able to give him 1 extra year to live, he will give you everything you ask for. Everything.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying is, to a healthy man, he wants 1,000 things. But to a
Right.
sick man, he only wants one thing.
Yeah.
And that is like non-negotiable. To a sick man, he only wants one thing.
Yeah.
To a healthy man, he wants a million things.
Right.
But that's the perspective I'm showing you, is like you have this life ticket. Like I say, what would a million would do to even trade that ticket to someone saying, I hate my life? So you think about that perspective for a moment.
Yeah. I mean, I look, this is very what's the right word? The right timing, I guess, for this perspective conversation. We've spent 3.5 years talking about this stuff, right? You know, I mean, even go back to the Hard Things About Hard Things book, right? You know, I mean, I mean, there's moments over the past couple months where almost on a daily, you know, I get hit with this wave of like nausea almost of like, oh my God, like how am I going to do this? How am I going to pull this thing off? How am I going to fucking do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Like, you know, and it's it is it can feel overwhelming, but like that's because I lost perspective. Like I'm creating something every single day. I walked into the facility tonight. My dad was over there helping me to put like the pads over the I-beams, so people don't get hit, you know, when they're playing, and we're doing that. And the people that are doing the mural are in there right now, and they're about, I'd say, halfway through the mural. And you can start to see it kind of taking shape, you know, distinctly, what's going on. And they're so talented. But like there was just a moment where we were in the back of the facility, and there's just a big ass open room. It's like just a big 20,000 square foot open room, right? And there's this one massive wall where it's like just this beautiful amount of colors and art, and you can see what they're doing, and they're working collaboratively. And like I just found myself, I don't know how many times while we were in there, just like staring at this wall, just going, man, that's fucking cool. Like, you know, like I'm like, this is just fucking cool. You know, I mean, I every moment that I went to walk in there for the rest, but it's expensive. It adds more anxiety to my life. It adds more, you know, complications to all this stuff, right? You know, like
But at the end of the day, it's still perspective, because you say, well, you know, I mean, if a millionaire say, well, if you let me live and you give me $1 billion in debt, do you think she would take it?
of course, like I
Of
mean, like
course, that's
I mean,
perspective. This is what I mean when
it's
you in perspective is
right.
what is important to us. We took it for granted. The
Yes,
ticket of life, right? You're given the
just
ticket of
try,
life.
just trying,
If you
you know,
compare that ticket of life to a person who has a shortened ticket, but like he is
right.
sick with something, right? You think about what he would give up. What this is what I'm talking about when you said the hard thing about hard thing, right? Oh, I have to make the hard decision to go and lay off some people. Like that's not hard in your perspective, but you know it's
No,
hard from
but
his perspective.
right.
But if without the perspective, if
But it
you
is hard. I mean, but
but
it's not hard.
you
Yeah,
take a grain of sand as, oh, it's just such a burden,
right. Yes,
right? And the thing is, that's what I'm saying is
I don't have to
because
do this.
you focus on something that is not vital to you, you lose sight of what it is.
Right.
What it is vital to you.
I, I, I
This
agree.
is my point. Is life? It is so precious, and you're squandering it. It's like you won a lottery ticket, and you are a dumbass. You don't know what to do with it.
No,
This is
yeah.
what I
That's,
see
yes.
from. Let's pretend that I, you know, become this you know, like a spirit that, you know, lives out of my body and look at a universe from afar. We look at ourselves as these dumbasses that don't know what is good for them,
Right.
right? We have something great and we say, well, I don't want that. I want to do something else. Like I say, if I were to give you $1 trillion today, I don't know, a billion, trillion, gazillion, right now, I give it to you right now. But the caveat is you can't wake up tomorrow. Would you want it?
I mean, of course, the answer is no. I mean,
That means
it
what?
just
That means that you
it
value
means
your
it,
life more than a billion, trillion, gazillion dollars.
of course.
That is what you're saying is right now.
Yep.
You say, well, I need to go pay bills. You know, it's gonna be $2,000. It's gonna be $10,000. It's gonna be $100,000.
Right.
Versus, okay, I'm going to sell my life. I'm going to sacrifice my life force to make a couple bucks so that I can pay for things that I don't need. Like, oh, I need some pads to put onto this just railing, whatever.
It's I-beam.
Who
Yeah.
give I-beam? Who give a fuck?
Right.
Right? This is what I'm saying is you have a vote. Let's imagine like something is most precious. Maybe a vote of all the golds and whatever.
Right.
And then somebody comes into you, you know, you're the little quote unquote smart kid, say, hey, I'm super smart. And you go, you talk to the kids, say, hey, those things that you have in your vault there, right? It's useless. You can't do anything with it. You can't sleep on it. It's hard as hell. Why don't
Right.
I give you you know, some of these leaves, right? And you give me some of that. That is the perspective I'm looking in from the universe. Is you're trading in a life force, which is so precious to you that there's no amount will ever be enough to trade for it. Yet you trade for it. And what I mean by that is you are trying to build something that you think you want, and you for some whatever reason force yourself and put yourself in some kind of imaginary change, and you are losing life force by becoming stressed, because when you're stressed, you are shorting your life.
Dude, it's
Do
horrible.
you
I mean,
agree? When you
I
short your
mean,
life, you are
like
actually
this is
trading something so valuable
this
for
dude.
a bucket of leaves that
I
some
know,
scam artist comes to you and say, hey, Chris,
and we're
for a
talking
couple of bucks, right? You give me those ball gold, you can sleep on this leaf.
right.
It's comfortable. It's softer than the brick of gold that you have in your vault. Give me 10 of them. I'll give you a bucket of leaves. This is what
Right.
I see. And then the kids say, oh, I'm so smart. I was able to trade the useless thing for, you know, a bunch of leaves. That is what I see if I were to, you know, leap my soul out and then stare from space down on Earth and look at all the dumbasses that think they're so smart. That is what they're doing. So
Right.
when you are getting stressed out for, oh, I can't pay for bills, or I can't pay for this, whatever, right? This is what you're doing.
I know. I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, there's this fine balance between caring and not caring about stuff and keeping it top of mind, but not keeping it top of
Well,
mind.
it's not about not caring. It's about putting things into perspective in a way
Right.
it should be, because you're looking at how much of a weight of a bar of
Oh,
gold
the
versus
anxiety. I mean, dude,
the bucket of leaves. So it's not about whether or not you should and should not trade. It's about how are you valuing it. The point I'm saying is you are completely like you missed the point on the value of your life. And this is what I have. This is what I did too. Okay, when I was younger, I was you know building this business, which I don't have anymore. Right, like I say, I don't want it anymore, and I don't want. And I basically traded my life force for it, which doesn't amount to anything. It's basically like smoke.
right.
It is edible smoke. That's what I've learned. And when I see things like this, it gets me riled up in a way,
It
because I
should.
say, well,
It should.
you are completely
It
missing the
should.
point. You say you are being scammed by society to tell you, hey, use your life force to trade for a few dollars.
Agreed. All right. So you're spot on, and I'm glad that we did this one today because this is I need to keep being pulled back into, you know, a balanced state going forward of going, hey, this is not that important. Like it'll be okay. Like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. It's fine. Like, but keep going, keep fighting, keep trying to endure, do stuff. All we've been talking about for years and years and years, and like and we'll do it.
The thing is,
if
the
you care about it, then
perspective
do it.
says you have to preserve your life force first and foremost, and then you can do with what you have using
Right.
that life force. Don't squander the life force for a few dollars,
Agreed.
which you're going to squander anyway.
Yeah,
The
I
dollar
mean, who cares? You know,
is not going to last. Like I
it's
say,
temporary
I
anyway. Yeah.
I squander my health. I reduce my life force for something that I don't care about anymore. And to think about it, like I say, it didn't amount to anything.
Agreed. So I have to jump. I have the people are waiting
Yeah.
in the waiting room, but you know, thanks for always keeping me back in line, and obviously good talking with you as always. And for everybody, the question we can leave with you is, you know, how are you taking advantage of the black swan that gave you your chance at life of this world? So don't squander it. Thanks for
Don't
joining,
squander
everyone.
it.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.